Hello, this is the Death Row and Executions channel. My name is Paco. You can also follow me on Facebook for updates and more Death Row news. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. Also, check out my other channel here on YouTube called The Maximum Sentence, where I cover recent crimes and convictions and a maximum penalty handed down. There will be a link for that as well. In the year 2004, Rachel Tolleson was living in Farmersville, Texas, with her 5-month-old baby daughter, Avery. Rachel was living alone after the relationship with her husband, Andrew Tolleson, became rocky and he moved out. But Rachel was very close to her mom, Pam O'Neill, and spending a lot of time with her, often staying the night at her mom's house, or Pam would visit her, doing so every morning if Rachel was home that day. On March 18th of the year 2004, Rachel's mom, Pam, arrived at Rachel's house, as she did every morning, and found a back door wide open. She went inside and immediately noticed that something was wrong. It almost looked like a tornado went through the house. There were things strewn about everywhere. Rachel's bedroom was a total mess. The bed's mattress was falling off and the headboard was broken. The nightstand was pushed away from the wall, and all kinds of stuff that was on furniture was scattered all over the place. And Rachel's mom found the baby Avery, alone on top of that mattress that was falling off the bed. Rachel's mom panicked, knowing something terrible has happened in that house. She picked up her granddaughter off the bed and police were notified. After investigators arrived at the house, it was obvious to everyone that Rachel had gotten into a horrendous struggle, a fight with someone. At some point, that someone must have managed to subdue Rachel and abducted her and removed her from the home. A massive search for Rachel Tolleson throughout the region had begun. Investigators also saw on the floor, among all the other things thrown around, several sheets of paper. They were documents belonging to Rachel petitioning for a divorce from her husband, Andrew Tolleson. And on one of those sheets, there was a clear image of a shoe print where someone, very likely the person who attacked Rachel, had stepped on it. And of course, investigators believed that the first suspect, who may have something to do with the disappearance of Rachel Tolleson, was her estranged husband, Andrew Tolleson. While the search for Rachel continued, Andrew Tolleson was eventually located and brought in for questioning. Andrew Tolleson stated that he was at a party most of the night that ended sometime in the middle of the night, and then he went home to sleep. He said that others at the party who can verify his alibi were Efren Gamez and Moises Mendoza, and he gave the names of several other men and women who were at the party. This is still the same day that Rachel was discovered missing. Investigators then wanted to corroborate Andrew's alibi, so they began interviewing several others who were at that party, including Moises Sandoval Mendoza. At the front door of his house, those detectives would later say that Mendoza appeared very jittery and nervous and was even sweating, and they found that very unusual since they were only there to question Mendoza about the whereabouts of Andrew Tolleson, the main suspect at this point. Well, as it turned out, Mendoza had a very good reason to be nervous and sweating. As he was being questioned at his front door, the dead body of Rachel Tolleson was lying in a field near the backyard of his home, out in the back from where detectives were standing. Sometime after the investigators left and were no longer around in the area, Mendoza panicked, placed Rachel's body on his pickup truck, and drove to a remote area where there was a creek. He then stacked a bunch of firewood on her body and lit it up on fire in an attempt to burn the body to ashes. Others at the party were later also questioned, including several women. And at some point, the homeowners where the party that Andrew Tolleson had attended were also questioned. I think that might be Efren Gomez. And they confirmed that Andrew Tolleson was there. They also named others who were there, including Moises Mendoza and quite a few others. Detectives were shown the area outside where the party took place and were informed that there was also a bonfire for the party. The detectives looked down and observed the burned firewood that was used for that party's bonfire. 6 days after Rachel disappeared, the search was continuing, and a man named James Powell was walking along Brushy Creek just east of Farmersville, Texas, and he came across a burned body lying face down. Although she was badly burned, she was later positively identified as Rachel Tolleson from dental records. The firewood on her was collected and preserved as evidence, and one sharp-thinking detective decided to go back to the house where they had the bonfire, and he collected the firewood that was there still on the ground. Now, this is where things get interesting. Firewood from the crime scene where Rachel Tolleson was burned and firewood from the party's bonfire was sent to a lab that was engaged in using some type of laser technology to differentiate one tree or plant from another, even if it's the same type of tree or plant. They can see differences with this new technology. It's like DNA for humans. There might be billions upon billions of trees and plants on this planet, but every single one has different traits and characteristics from each other. Investigators got the report back from the lab that not only did the firewood from the crime scene and the party's bonfire come from the same type of tree, oak wood, they came from the same tree. So it appeared investigators were getting ready to arrest Rachel's husband, Andrew Tolleson, for murder when they go back to the house of the party and find out that he was the one who brought the firewood there. But when people who were at the party were questioned, they said that Andrew did not bring the firewood to the bonfire, that it was Moises Mendoza who brought that firewood. Moises Mendoza was then arrested and brought to police headquarters for questioning. And there was a search of his house at the same time. And inside his house, they found footwear with soles that were an exact match to the print left on the divorce papers at Rachel's home on the night of the attack. Confronted with this evidence, Moises Mendoza confessed. Well, he sort of confessed. He said that he went to Rachel's home and that she had agreed to go back to his house with him after the baby was asleep so that they can be intimate with each other. Investigators knew this story was ridiculous for two main reasons. One, there's no way Rachel is going to leave her 5-month-old baby at home alone. And two, his story doesn't explain why the inside of Rachel's house was almost totally destroyed. Investigators would also later learn that Mendoza had attended a party 2 weeks earlier where Rachel was present, and he tried several times coming on to her. Rachel had told some of her friends about it, and she had said that she told Mendoza that she was not interested. Other friends of Rachel and friends of Mendoza informed police that Mendoza has had a crush on Rachel ever since childhood. And they were both even in the same classes together many times while growing up and going to school. The medical examiner who did the autopsy stated that Rachel had multiple bruises throughout her body, likely from the life or death vicious struggle and fight at her home on the night that she was abducted. Moises Sandoval Mendoza was eventually tried and convicted and sentenced to death. His execution is scheduled for April 23rd of this year. During his confession, Mendoza told detectives that when he woke up on the morning after the party, that he had a horrible hangover from being so drunk the night before and felt very sick, and that he thought that he had a really bad dream about having done something really bad. He said that in his dream, he had committed a terrible crime against Rachel Tolleson, assaulting and killing her. He said that after he woke up, he then went out into his backyard, looked over into the field, and that's when he realized that it was not a dream. Please remember to hit the subscribe button for more death row and upcoming execution stories so that you're alerted when the next one comes out. You can also follow me on Facebook for updates and more death row news. There will be a link for my Facebook in the description below. My name is Paco Rivera. Take care and bye for now.